Oh, right, guys. So we are on the wrap up of our perspective unit, and we're going to talk about what is going to entail your CYU1, which is someone else's perspective. So, why is the perspective of a story important, which is our guiding question, and explain why the perspective of a story matters to the plot. Understand that there can be more than one side to the story. So, this is kind of just an overview of all of the things that we've learned so far: first, second, third, reliable, unreliable, limited, omniscience. We've read tons of things: folk tales, we've read gothic horror. Um, we've just had a ton of things. So, a narrator's interpretation of events, people, and places is based on their own personal experience and background. So, it relays a scene or event through the mind of a specific character. Now, there are many other things that can be influenced in a perspective, but some important things are personality, lifestyle, cultural backgrounds, age, gender, personal experiences, spirituality or religion, and education. So these can have big influences on why a person might view something differently than you would. So, how the characters view and process what's happening within the story, the character's perspective affects how he or she feels about certain experiences or other characters. There could be three people experiencing the same event, but each person comes away with a different set of experiences or observations. The story changes depending on who tells it. So, it's important to understand the perspective um, or understand everybody's perspective. If we look to our last story, which was A Tale of Two Beasts, we saw that A Tale of Two Beasts was a tale of two perspectives. So both characters view the same story very differently, and the characters disagree in the glasses below. So the beast is sad and alone, is what the little girl thinks, and the beast is actually happily in his favorite tree. So I'm going to explain what part one of your CYU1 is, which is called CYU1 Someone Else's Perspective. So there's two parts to this activity. So think about a time you got into trouble or got into an argument or disagreed with someone. Retell the story as if you were the other person. Include their perspective during this interaction. Include how they felt, what they saw, what they heard, and what they would say from their point of view about the event. So your CYU1, someone else's perspective, should be told in at least five. You can write more. It probably would take you more if you were going to put all those details in. Be mindful of your punctuation, capitals at beginning of sentences, and names and places. And don't forget periods and commas. So I have an example for you. So this is an example of a mother and her daughter's arguments. This is from the mother's perspective. I was so tired getting off of the train last night. Work was crazy. My boss was on my case all day, and I wanted to get home, make dinner, and hop right into bed. When I entered the house, the first thing I noticed was Becca's laptop still out on the coffee table, along with copybooks and highlighters. I had specifically asked her to clean up after the class and to vacuum the living room. When I made my way to the kitchen, the chicken that I asked her to take out of the freezer was nowhere to be found. Instead, I saw plates and bowls from what appeared to be her breakfast and lunch unwashed. After I noticed the chicken still in the freezer, even though I texted her to take it out by noon today, I could not contain my rage. I went upstairs and knocked on Becca's door. She didn't answer, so I pushed it open. She was sitting on her bed with her AirPods on. I yelled at Becca that I work a full day to buy her things like a laptop and AirPods, and she kept rolling her eyes and sighing at me. What's the big deal? Just order pizza or something. Chill. The point was not that I could just order pizza. The point was that Becca had not done even one of the things I asked of her. I work long hours to support her and give her a good life. I would like some consideration. I should not have to clean up her messes when I come home from work, and I should be able to make dinner when I walk in the door. So that was Becca's argument, was an argument that happened between her and her mom. So she wrote this from the other perspective, which was her mom's perspective. So in Becca's perspective, Becca might have thought, I had school all day. I'll get to the plates later. I forgot. I was listening to music. That's why I didn't open the door initially. And might have just genuinely not thought it was that big of a deal that she didn't take out the chicken. That they could have just easily gotten takeout. But we see when we look at her mom's side, so it could really be, if you're Becca, that it's not a big deal. I'll vacuum later. I'll put my laptop away. I didn't take the food out. It's not that deep. But to her mom, we see that she had to take the train home. So she has a commute, maybe a long commute. She has a boss that's been on top of her all the time. She is paying for the home, for the food. She's paying for the laptop and the AirPods. And in return, she was asking simply for the floor to be vacuumed, the laptop away, and for the chickens to be out. So I think Becca did a really great job kind of showing that her mom's perspective on a situation of an argument that they both got into. Part two is that perspective is based on numerous things such as personal experiences and backgrounds. And I would love for you to come up with 5 things that can influence someone's perspective. So that can be their gender, their race, their education level, their family, where they live, if they work or if they don't work. So I gave you a list in the previous slides, but there are many things you can use those or any other ones that you come up with. So tomorrow we're going to be introduced to Keystone Prep and start making our way into our new poetry units. So let us know if you have any questions. Have a great